Hey, hey, it's Captain Math, and as you know, we're working on fractions. And today we're going to review the purpose of the numerator and the denominator, and we're going to use a special tool called the fraction chart. Okay? So let's review. Numerator is part of the whole. Okay? And the denominator says it represents the whole. Okay? So fraction is part of the whole. And when we talk about numerator, we usually like to talk about the shaded portion of the fraction. But guess what? We can also talk about the unshaded. But let's keep it simple by talking about the shaded portion of the fraction. So now I would like to introduce you to a very special tool that I love to use when I talk about fractions. And here it is. Wow. This is called a fraction chart. Can you say fraction chart? Great job. And as you can see, it's very colorful. We use the fraction chart to for numerous reasons, and we're going to understand the basic concept of fractions by using one of my best tools, the fraction chart. Now, if you notice up here, it has one whole, which is a unit. In fact, all of these fractions relates to the one whole, okay? And what color is the one whole? That's right, it is red. And as you look at the one whole, it has not been cut. Just like a pizza. When they take the pizza out, it's one whole pizza. It has not been cut. So here's an example of one whole. But if you look under the one whole, you start to see the fractions. All right, so let's look at the one right under the one whole. It is called the half. So let's count by halves. 1/2, 2/2. And if you notice that the only thing that changed was the numerator. 1/2, 2/2. The denominator didn't change because how many equal parts does a half have? It has 2 equal parts. So we didn't change the denominator, we only changed the numerator. 1/2, 2/2. All right, let's look at the next fraction. 1/3. What color is the 1/3? It is. It's green. So let's count by 1/3. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Again, you notice a pattern that the only thing that changed was the top number, the numerator. The denominator did not change because it's still cut into 3 equal parts. Now, the wrong conception of this would have been 3/9. But we know it's not 3/9 because it's not cut into 9 equal sections. It's only cut into 3. So that's the reason why we don't add the denominator, because that relates to the type of unit that we're working with. And right now we're looking at 1/3. Now, let's look at the next one. What color is 1/4? It is. It's yellow. So let's count by 1/4. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. Notice that we didn't change the unit. That's why the denominator is still 4. But the only thing that changed was the numerator, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as you look at this fraction chart, what do you notice about each fraction? That's right. As the fraction, as the denominator gets bigger, the size of the fraction, the part of it gets smaller. And that's what happens when you're dealing with fractions. A lot of people would have said that 1/4 is bigger than 1/2. So we have a good visual of seeing which fraction is bigger than the other fraction, just by looking at the fraction chart. 1/4 is smaller than 1/2, isn't it? Very good. So now let's look at our fraction chart and continue to count by these fractions. All right, so we left off at 1/4. What is the next unit? 1/5. What color is the fifths? It is orange. Very good. So let's count by 1/5. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. Very good. Very good. Let's move on to the next one. What color is the next unit? That's right, it's purple. And these are called 1/6. So let's count by 1/6 together. You ready? Let's go. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. Very good. Let's look at the next one. These are called 8ths. And what color is the 8th? Well, some people say it's beige, but it could also be brown. But you're right, it is beige or brown. So let's count by 1/8. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Very good. Now you see a pattern? See, notice that nothing, the denominator never changed. Only the numerator changed to the next number. All right, let's look at the next unit. What color is this one? That's right, it's pink. And these are called 1/10ths. Let's count by 1/10ths together. Are you ready? 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 10/10. Again, the denominator never changed. It was tenths all the way. The only thing that changed was the numerator. All right, let's look at the last one. And these are called 12ths. And what color is it? Light green. So let's count by 1/12 together. Ready? Let's go. 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12, 6/12, 7/12, 8/12, 9/12, 10/12, 11/12, and finally 12/12. Very good. So now you know how to read a fraction chart. Very good. So now, what do all of these fractions have in common? Well, they all are under the unit of 1/2. So let's look at the top. If I said how many halves equal 1/2, how many halves does it cut into? That's right, 2. So it takes 2 1/2s to equal that 1/2. All right, very good. Let's look at 1/3. How many thirds does it take to equal one whole. That's right. It takes 3 because it's cut into 3 equal sections. It takes 3 1/3 to equal one whole. All right? How many fourths does it take to equal one whole? Great job. It takes 4 1/4 to equal one red whole. It takes 4 yellow 1/4 to equal one red one whole. All right, so the fraction chart helps us to understand what is equal to that one whole. So let me ask you these next questions. And I want you to put on your thinking caps. How many fifths would it take to equal one whole? Did I hear 5? That's right. It would take 5 1/5, 5 orange 1/5 to equal that one red whole. All right? And how many 6 would it take? It will take 6. It would take 6 purple 1/6 to equal that one red one whole. Very good. How many 8s? It will take 8 of them to equal one whole. Just like when we go to get a pizza and they take it out of the oven, it's one whole, but then they cut into 8 equal sections. That means each slice is 1/8 of a slice. Very good. What about 1/10? How many 1/10 would you need to make one whole? You would need 10. Very good. So I think you see a pattern. So let's look at the last one. 1/12. How many 1/12 would you need to equal to that one red one whole? Excellent. You would need 12 of them. 12 of these 1/12 put together to equal that one red one whole. I think you see a pattern. I think you see a pattern. And one last thing, as you look at the fraction chart, what do you notice about each fraction as it gets, as the denominator gets larger? What happens to the size of each part? So when you look at 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/8, 1/10, and 1/12, what happens to the size of it? It gets smaller. 1/2 is this big, 1/3 is a little smaller. It gets smaller each time the denominator gets larger. Good job. Good job. So the fraction chart, is a great tool to understand the basic concept of fractions. So if you enjoyed today's episode and you really understood fractions, please write in the comment section to let me know that I did a good job explaining the fraction chart so that you can understand fractions. The next time, we're going to use the fraction chart to add like units. And in the future, we're going to use the fraction chart and another concept to add unlike units. For example, 1/2 plus 1/3. But those are unlike fractions because the denominators are different. But the next time, we're going to add like units. And if you can count by 1/2, 1/3, you're going to love to add like fractions. Also, make sure you subscribe and share today's episode to someone that's having problems with fractions. See you next time. Captain Math signing off.